gotta keep you muted all the time, man. Scrape and bark. All right, ladies. Yeah, there we are. Hey, news from the pew, the most organized news show on the planet, coming to you live on this glorious day. I feel like we should have played the song from Happy Gilmore. What a glorious day. Happy past the third grade.
I dressed up for the event. I got a clip on here.
Steve wore his best.
I feel like I'm a banker in this.
You do. Now he's gonna sell me a mortgage at 9% interest. Just because
it's a St. Michael tie.
Oh, is it from our friends at Proselytize?
Actually, it's no, but you go check them out. But there's another group that does ties too, and he wanted to send me some, and so I got some for the kids, and so there I took them out of the bag just for this occasion. Since it's
is that a clip-on?
I'm sorry?
Is that a clip-on?
Yeah, it's a clip-on. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought you just stuffed it in your shirt.
Yeah, it's just a little clip-on. It's called the Catholic Men's Shop.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of stuff, links and things like that.
Proselytize supremacy.
So I figured since I don't have a collar shirt on, that at least I'd wear a tie. All the other trad shows have guys on ties, so I'll have a tie. You get the dress code.
I have not done so yet, and I refuse to. I
got hair slicked back. Took a shower.
You buddy, the hair is always slicked back. It's a neat trick. But we are here, ladies and gentlemen. In case you didn't know, we have a new Holy Father, and of course, the internet has opinions. And I just talked about it. Very, very thankful to Catholic Comedy. He came on my show and did an absolutely great job. Apologies to Christopher Lawrence and the Catholic Pipe Company. I'm stupid and I forgot to help you guys get on the stream. But Pope Leo the 14th, the first American Pope, is now your Holy Father, ladies and gentlemen. The best one was him coming out to the Michael Jordan, to the Chicago theme song. It actually fit pretty well. But the ones where they're gonna put a Buc-ee's in the Vatican now, I'm actually in favor of. But that's it's pretty funny. The conclave that everybody was like, this might go a couple days, maybe next week. Nah, it was done in a day. But it lines up with the other ones. Like Francis's only took 2 days. Benedict's only took a couple days.
Stop Bears.
The Pope. And all those jokes, the jokes will runneth as it goes. But people reacted. Steve went live when it happened, and he got the amazing Jonathan Arrington to join him. He got the smart people on to talk about it when it actually happened. Now he's slumming it with me over here as we try to talk about generally the reaction of it.
It's because of you too. You're the genesis of that. I mean, I had no clue. I sit down. I had to do an errand. I had to go to the store, pick up some baby food. Know anybody? All the Puritans out there. He's 2, so he's getting like the pouches stuff. The fruit pouches. So it's not the fake stuff. But he was out, and so I had to make a little food run for him. And I get back and I sit down to put some videos together. I've just been nuts all day today, even before. And Rick texts me. I get a text from Rick, white smoke. I go, holy crap. And I'm literally sitting right here and let me check out EWTN, see if they're live, so you confirm. Nobody was streaming at the time. It was Fox News, and that was it. I mean, I went out there.
Vatican News was, because I was watching Vatican News. Vatican News was streaming.
Well, yeah, I forgot Vatican News was on. I looked on the Roku device out there to try to find something on YouTube, and the thing was choppy, and it was like, oh crap. And but yeah, come back in here. It's like, you know what? I'm sitting here for 45 minutes trying to get a couple things together. They ain't nobody really talking much. The guys that are there. Let me see if I can find people. Rick was doing his thing. He was doing actual work. The other guys were doing work. Hit Jonathan up. Anybody, thankfully, Jonathan was all about it. He's worked there in the Laboratorio Romano. He actually met the now Pope Leo the 14th. And so we just shot the breeze for 30 minutes. And And then I started catching up. Just saw a couple of the trads online losing their minds. Holy cow!
Yeah, I mean, it was. We're not trying to drag them, but the and this is what I caught a lot of flack for. But I was trying to warn people for the last couple weeks: don't gas yourself up to be. We need this pope or nothing, right? That the problem was when it was like we need Sarah or Pizza Bala or like I wanted Arrow, and it's like we need him, and you're gonna put yourself in a position where these guys naturally were just disappointed, and now you are in a sour relationship with the new Holy Father. Technically, he's a blank slate. He hasn't done anything in his pontificate yet. And just because he did things under Francis, you don't know his personal motivations for doing them. He could have just been a good soldier and doing those things, or he could have had that. But, he came out in the vestments. He did a prayer in Latin. That's better than Francis, who didn't do any of that. So, he came out and he's like, Pope, you are blessed. And then we went on. But the online reaction, it's just take a breath, guys. Today's supposed to be a good day because we're getting enough from the Protestants and Laura Loomer and all these other psychos online. I'm saying Laura Loomer's a psycho, not everybody else. Marxist Pope, not MAGA. And it's like, well, the Catholic Church isn't MAGA because MAGA is pro-IVF and pro-unjust war and pro-LGBT MAP. So
one priest said something about, hey, you so-called conservatives. He's look at all the tweets against Trump. I'm going, am I now not, you guys, am I not a conservative because I don't worship the altar of Trumpzilla and called JD this clip on? Give me.
Where the clip on?
If I get rid of, just because I call Peter Thiel JD Vance and I call out the technocracy, illegal bombings, no due process, illegal arrests, opening up an Alcatraz, technocracy, all the mRNA jabs coming out. Yes, a lot of mRNA jabs coming out. Thank you, RFKJ. And the Epstein file still not going out. Did I mention the illegal wars? Ethnic cleansing?
Did we mention the LGBTQ? Do we mention any of that?
Sorry if I don't kiss the ring of MAGA. I mean, you talk about Americanism. Apparently, you have to be more America than Catholic. If you don't bend the knee to Trump, you're not truly conservative. Well, take my conservative card and shove it in wherever you want to put it. Because we'll say good Trump and when he does some good things.
Yeah.
But we got video on that stuff coming up. He wants to wage war on Greenland. He's not ruling out bombing Greenland. Show me where that is in the trad card. We got to bomb these people. If you're not for that, you're not one of us. Well, good. I'm not one of you.
Yeah. I mean, the fact is that the right trads, let's quote unquote trads, have been pushed into shoving Catholicism through the prison of MAGA, and it's never going to fit because they don't fit. I am not a conservative. When people ask me my political leanings, I am a Catholic. Take that as you will. Oh, what does that mean? It means it doesn't mean I'm for open borders. The catechism doesn't say that. But of course, because the left and even our evangelical brothers and sisters today, because he wasn't the most quote unquote based pope ever, they're like, oh, you got another open borders stooge. It's like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Somebody put a meme on, I can't show it, but it's a dragon breathing fire and it says shut the blank up Protestant. I'm like, I wish you'd said something else besides that, because I would just start posting that everywhere. It's like, Protestants, go away. This, I got into it.
It's funny seeing all the Protties that can't stop talking about it.
Yeah, right.
Hate it. They hate it, but they can't stop talking about it. We don't like it. We don't like the it's heresy and all that, but I can't stop yapping about it.
Well, it just reaffirms for the last 2 weeks the Catholic Church is the main character. It just reaffirms it. We are.
Nobody cares about their local pastor getting elected. No one cares.
No. No matter what they say, and the fact of the matter is that's it's a good day. He's been elected. The seat is filled. Order has been restored out of all this stuff. And I said this on my show, and thanks to Catholic Comedy, who really inspired me, and Steve does every week too. If you're really upset about Pope Leo XIV for some reason, because he's not Sarah or he's not your guy, I understand that. You need to take those feelings and you need to channel them in to praying harder for Pope Leo the 14th. If you're really upset, fast. Institute a fast for him. If you're really sad, pray an extra rosary for him, right? Maybe we should instead, because the enemy wants us to lash out. The enemy wants us fighting with each other. Instead, we need to be united under the Pope. Now, I'm not saying, I'm going to be labeled a Pope splainer, whatever. I don't care. But the fact of the matter is, he's the Pope now. And we don't know what his pontificate is going to be. Just because he tweeted some stuff, which is weird. He's the first Pope to actually have to deal with a Twitter account. Right?
Yeah, someone sent me a tweet about it right off the bat, and I responded back to him. I'm not going to judge the papacy off a retweet. And he sent me a retweet. It wasn't even a tweet, a retweet. Is that where we are? Now, I mean, here's I think this is the Gave's website. They're not too jacked about it.
Yeah.
Again, it's what? When we did our thing with Arrington and I, it was 34 minutes into his papacy, and half the people were ready to jump ship. We're not even, 6 hours in? I mean, it's not even day one. Chill out. Now, if you guys act like this versus Trump when he came out with Stargate, I'd be like, hey, we're showing some consistency, but we're not. But I mean, like you said, it came out, and Jonathan and I talked about it. He wore the traditional garb.
Yep.
Hey, we'll take that. He did great Latin. I think he said the specific prayers for the first time since Pius the 12th. I think I saw it. So hey, day one, we'll go one day at a time. We hadn't done anything yet. Day one. Are we really going to critique everything? I mean, remember they said Pius the 9th was supposed to be this big gigantic lip. Ended up being a 180 switch. Who knows? You have no
John
idea.
the 6th. John the 6th, who was supposed to be a transitional pope. He was not supposed to do anything. I think that he's the guy that did Vatican II, right? Pope, or was that Pope John the 23rd? I'm sorry. Pope John,
6 ended it. 6 ended it.
Pope John the 23rd was an old pope. They were like, you're a transitional pope. You're not supposed to do anything. And he ended up being the most impactful pope in the last 70 years. So we don't know.
Somebody sent me a text saying, hey, I know that he actually know a friend that spent time with, that had interaction with him. And he was for the non-lunacy in liturgy. When he met, he did not like the nuttiness in liturgy. He wanted a good liturgy. He actually he told me, I'm not supposed to give his name, did have backed up a priest that said the TLM. So, and he actually told me, he goes, it would not shock me if that tweet that everyone's sending around saying he says a private TLM, he goes, it would not shock me that it's true. We don't know. Again, in a year from now, if it comes out and he's got, he's replaced the deacon with a clown, and we're doing something crazy during Mass. Okay, come at me. I'll give you my address. You can kick me in the butt. Yep. Be like Jay and Silent Bob when you go by house to house and you just beat them up. I'll tell you where I'm at, and you can line up and beat me. Till then, it's day one. And give a little slack before we throw them out to the wolves right off the bat. But there's some guys it seemed like suicide watch when this is the darkest day in their lives.
Yeah. I mean, technically he's for through traditional marriage. He's against the LGBT MAP. He's against women deacons. He's against the stuff that you would be like, okay, I think I can get down with this. Because we got gaslit for 2 weeks saying it's got to be this guy. This is the only guy that's going to defend the West. Yeah. And I get it. You wanted that guy. That's cool. I understand you're passionate about. But now this is what I was warning people about.
Yeah, Jocko. Did I send you it? He has a great video that came out a couple days ago. Talking about detachment, and it's a Catholic thing. We talk about it, but he brings up from a secular way. Detached, the leader, the guy in charge of the general has to be detached from all his troops, because there's a thing about his band of brothers. There's something that happened, and one of the guys underneath him, he just lost it over it. And Jocko brings up, goes, because he was attached. You can't be attached, or you won't be a good leader. You won't be able to do things like that. Our guys got so attached to what they wanted. Our will be done instead of thy will be. Sit back again. What we were talking about, Rick and I. Go back and watch the video. We joked about the Vegas spreads. By the way, he wasn't even on the list. The spreads. He was like 40.
Yep. I couldn't find his name on the Cardinal report for like 10 minutes after they announced him. I was like, oh, I don't know how to spell his name.
All these channels are doing, hey, this guy's going to be put. Let's do a deep dive in each one. You could have put a gun to my head, and I wouldn't know 5 of the Cardinals that came out. Why? I'm busy. I got other things going on, family, trying to get stuff together, trying to get this amp going, trying to do this, trying to do that. I'm not sitting there. I remember somebody go, I'm going to study every Cardinal. You don't have a life. What is it? What are you doing? Starting just so you could tweet harder? And then what happened? This didn't go right. And Rick set it up like a couple weeks ago. You're setting yourselves up to already be against the Pope, whoever it is, because your guy, whoever your guy is, and you're going to say, well, you don't know what you're doing. I can tell you how to run your church. Now what happened? Now you're against it after he just gets named, and everyone's, oh, I hate this guy already.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be another 20 years. Maybe I should go Eastern Orthodox or blah, 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 blah. It's like, relax.
Here's a great from Michael Matz there at Rome. I thought this was a great post he did.
Everybody calm down. It could have been worse. It really, truly could have been worse.
Yeah. Speaking of what he's saying that when you text me up about the white smoke and I finally found Vatican News, and the first thing I saw was what's his face from Boston, the Cardinal from Boston, and I immediately go, well, he ain't it. Awesome. And then Jonathan gets on and you see Supage. I go, hey, it's not Supage either. Hey, that's great. Yeah, so it could have been better.
Could have been Dolan, guys. I think
Gregory the Great was walking through that. It's kind of like those little coaches of old. Larry Bird's not walking through that door. Magic Johnson's not walking through that door. Did we really think that Gregory the Great was coming through that? If Sarah came out, people would have found stuff on him they didn't like. Obviously, I think he's a Meju Biju guy, but something he would have done in the first week, everyone would have lost it on it, been like, oh, well, he's not one of our guys.
Think about this.
Nothing would have made anybody happy.
Think about this. They would have expected him to be like Trump. Where's the executive order removing Traditionis Custodes? Where is it? It's not done day one. Why isn't this done? What do you mean? This, that, and the other. Like, get it done now. Get it done now. And it's like,
imagine Burt getting up there and by, I don't know, the 48th hour, he hasn't gotten rid of TC, which I don't know if that would happen or not. People would have been just, Burke, we put you
compromised, Steve. He's been compromised by the liberal mafia. It's over. We're done. It's like, okay. You know what? When I go to Rome in August, I'll get you all Pope Leo XIV dolls.
And again, with him picking Leo, that's not just like, you know what? Let me blind pick a number here. Oh, I got Leo. Crap. No, he constantly thought that. Now, someone texted me immediately back going, well, it's because of the social justice. He's going, because we're in the environment. That was one of the Leo's great works. Now, hey, if that's the case, we'll see how it is on that. He didn't go with a new name. He didn't go with Francis II. Now someone's going, well, he's going with Leo just to undercut the Leo name. It's a wolf in sheep clothing by using a name. There's so many theories coming out. Again, I guess he's going to sleep now. It's his first night as Pope.
Yeah, right. He's literally been Pope for maybe 8 to 12 hours. He has not been Pope for long.
The wrinkles in the cassock are still there. Can we get the wrinkles out? I mean, the new shoe smell is still there. But hey, let's look at the bright side. He came the eyeball test. He came out looking like popes of old. Mm-hmm. He didn't come out with just a white say, "Hey, what's up? How you doing? Sorry, thank you for my presence."
Yep.
Spoke great Latin. He's really good with I hear he's from Jonathan told me he's very good in Spanish, really good to Hispanic community, which we're losing big time with. The prize are getting, just they're carving them up right now. So if you don't like the immigration thing, convert the doggone immigrants. That's not, hey, we got to just kick them out. Convert your brothers. Aren't they made an image of likeness of Christ? Hey, we'll back up. I guess I'll be called a lib for all that. Wait a minute. DJT isn't kicking out the illegals that are in the restaurants or the hotel industry. He's just getting the ones that speak out against Israel. All right, how about we get some freaking consistency on that and then see what's going on there. It's not because you're illegal, it's what kind of you're not speaking correctly about most favored nation, which is the EO, which we'll get into later, which is in the topic of Texas going like the United Kingdom and about to throw people in jail over memes. So
there's a little bit more nuance to it, but he's correct.
There is, I know, but I got links and all that. But I was just trying to cut that down into a 30-second rant. We're worried about that, and people in Texas can't get their backyard fixed. I'm not talking about you; your backyard looks glorious. But people that are like, "Oh, we got to fix this entire continent," can't fix their neighborhood. So don't tell me how you're going to convert the nation or the continent. Nation. You can't fix your neighborhood. Convert your street first, then worry about the continent. Let's work on the small first. And then we're worried about, Leo, it's the worst day in the world. I just can't believe I'm so depressed. If you're depressed after an hour of this paper, you need help.
You're also violating the cardinal virtue of hope.
We need hope. Oh, we got like that. We're done.
Yeah. Faith, hope, and charity, except for this Pope. Boo. It's like, okay, that's weird.
Anyway, let me get back to Michael. I'm sorry, Michael. I cut him off after 2 words.
So
we'll start it over.
So everybody calm down. It could have been worse. It really, truly could have been worse. He's seen as something of a centrist. One of the nice things is, right away, they say he could be a bridge builder between Latin Mass people and what's been going on here in the Vatican. I think that's a great sign, because as we know, the Latin Mass is the thing. The prayers that he said, all in Latin. The blessing was in Latin. The vestments were more or less traditional. Leo the 14th. Are you kidding me? Seeing everybody kneeling many people were kneeling for the blessing.
Everyone and their brother for the last 10 years have been begging for a Leo the 14th, and now they got one.
You got one, but it's not my Leo the 14th, Steve. It's not mine.
Bonacera, all of that was signaling where he was going. I got to say, I was worried that it was Provost, because there's some pretty liberal guys in this town who like him. Then again, he was born in Chicago. He's a first American. Worked out in South America, wherever. Please forgive me. I've not done a ton of research on this man. He was one of the ones I was a little concerned about. But what we saw in the loggia here suggested that maybe there's going to be a little bit of a ratcheting back or a pushing back from the Francis. And I really think the best sign, the prayers that he was praying in Latin, the Confiteor, the blessing, the tone, the gravitas of the man was serious. And again, this information that he's seen as something of a bridge builder on the Latin Mass issue, to me says, hold on, keep praying. Don't try to find everything negative about this, or you're just going to make yourself really depressed. There are some good signs, many better signs than there were under Francis. So in God's providence, this might be the thing. It won't be the crackdown against the Latin Mass. It won't be the lockdown on traditional Catholics. There's something of a centrist on that. And so we have this idea that the counter-revolution, the Catholic counter-revolution, will stay united now, okay? A super conservative pope perhaps would drive people apart, as oftentimes happens with very conservative popes. A very liberal pope would have been an absolute death knell to the church. So let's hope that the last 12 years was instructive to Cardinal Provost, now Pope Leo the 14th, and that there will be something of a coming together. That's the best that we can hope for. And the fact that we didn't see the worst indications of where this is going. Yes, he thanked Francis. That's customary. That's protocol.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything from the loggia. So good and bad. It's a mixed bag. We don't know. We're going to go back and do some studying and talk to a lot of people who know him personally and get back to you with more reporting on this. But I'm really, honestly, friends, I'm not trying to sugarcoat this. It's somewhere in the middle. That's what it is. And God's providence, we'll see. The most important thing is for the Catholic, the clans, to stay united now. And maybe this will be an opportunity if the war against the Latin Mass is reduced. And there's lots of things that could be said. I'm not even going to get into it. I know some things about a certain bishop in the United States.
We got a question.
I didn't watch it.
Question from the Empire. What do you think? What do you guys think of Tim Gordon's take on this? I didn't watch it. I had a buddy of mine who did watch it. He was disappointed from what I heard. And he was of the mindset that this is a Supich pick and Supich is running the Vatican now and all these other things. I think it's
kind of rough.
Well, I mean, that's what a lot of the trad guys are. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But he's disappointed, and I understand. I understand the disappointed. Guys, when the white smoke came out after I texted Steve and said, "Get your butt back here," I actually did a decade of the Rosary. I did a decade the agony in the garden for the Pope, because he's in the room of tears and the weight that he now has to carry. And I was like, please let it be Sarah. Please let it be either Sarah or please let it be Pizza Ball. That's what I said. But when he came out, I was like, okay, this is him.
I didn't have one hope. I didn't think like I'm just waiting for who would come out. Because even my wife asked me, who do you think is going to be? I go, I don't know. That naive Nicola even let that thought get in my head that I didn't want the words I want to come in. It's like, I'll take whatever comes out of that room.
Yeah, that probably should have been the best. I mean, that was my attitude through the whole conclave of everything like that too. I was it's gonna be who it's gonna be, but I let myself be like, if it's maybe it could, but whoever it is who it is. And
it would just been cool because it'd been like the whole Papa John joke. Would he be?
Oh, I know.
I mean,
I would have been like, honey, we have to celebrate with pizzas for 7 days.
Dude, I was kind of bitter when you sent me the thing White Smoke, because I literally was getting ready to do a spoof interview with the Seagulls. And I had it ready. I had the script ready. And then I was going to do an Mel Kiper Jr. on the day 2 going, let's look at the day 2 snubs, the snubs of day 2. What do you think about this? And I finally came together.
Everybody was kind of hoping that it would go into Monday or Tuesday just because it was great content. That's not, the anticipation, everything was great. But because I was watching the Vatican, because I have 3 screens. I had one on Vatican News, just watching that, and I was doing my work. And then it came out, and at first I was like, is it gray? It's like, oh my gosh, it's white. I was like, it's actually white. And they were playing.
Thank you, G, for bringing that up. Yes, Father Mateo used to call Chicago the city of the Sacred Heart. So, got to get back. It's not there right now, but
it does have a legacy.
Yeah.
But the guys on Vatican News, they were like, we're going to take a short break, and they were playing music. And they were out of breath from running back to the thing, because they were like, smoke. And it was kind of funny. The way that nobody had this thing planned, because we all woke up, there was no smoke in the morning. Actually, it was smoke at like 5:30, and that was the first 2 in the morning. So it was what, 4 ballots to get him there, maybe 5.
Yeah, possibly 4 or 5, 4 or 5-ish.
Which is not out of line for most of the last popes. So it's, and the thing that's interesting, I read this on the Cardinal report, is that going in, he looked like a compromise candidate if none of the leaders in the clubhouse could muster the votes, which is an interesting thought. Like Matt just said, it could have been Zuppi, it could have been I thought it was Paloan or whatever his name was. I was like, this is way too quick. It's got to be him. He must have cobbled together the votes to be that quick. But it looks like, the last time something like this happened, if it went down that way, was Pope John Paul II. Pope John Paul II was elected because the Italians couldn't get on the same page. There were 2 Italian factions that could not agree on it, and that's how Pope John Paul II was elected, because he was that choice. That's my only thing, Brian. He's a Cubs fan. That's the thing I probably have the biggest.
He's a Cubs fan.
Yeah,
I was wondering if he was South Side or North Side.
He's a Cubs fan. That's my biggest problem. That's my biggest problem.
I used to joke with Protestants about the infallibility, and I would always say, if the Pope comes out and says the Cubs are going to win the World Series, don't believe him. Now we got a Pope that's going to say the Cubs are going to win the World Series.
Yeah, although he went to Villanova too, so Big East Pope. So we get that. I
used to love Nova hoops back in the day, but
yeah, I love to see him blow Providence College out every year. So
because I was asking a friend, was he the one who brought the ICK in the Chicago area? I think it could be. I don't know. It's just as Matt said, pump the brakes. We don't. It's Rick said 6 hours in, guy's first night sleeping.
He's still
you
moving.
Start critiquing him when he goes off the rails.
let's see if he goes back into the Apostolic Palace, right? Let's see if he moves
There's a
back
lot of
in
ways
there.
there's
It
a lot
looks
of
like
ways
he's
he-
probably going to if he's going to wear the vestments. Another person said, let's see if he wears the red shoes on his first papal mass.
I was just thinking, whoever, someone's in my head because I just thought the red shoes were in line.
If he respects the vestments enough to wear them out on the balcony, I don't see why he won't follow.
Yeah, if he brings the throne back that Benedict sat in and not Francis, instead of a regular chair, all that stuff. You got to be humble to the office, which I think he actually said that before in a post of his. I think he did a video on the papacy. He mentioned about being humble to the office. I think it was. Again, is it perfect? No. Is it great?
He might flame out too, guys. He might be terrible. We don't know.
Again, if anybody comes out armchair quarterback, say, "Oh, he would have been." You have no idea how good someone else would have been, or how bad someone else would have been. Just all right. Here's reality. Reality is conforming your mind. Truth is conforming your mind to reality. Here's your Pope. You can like it or hate it. It's up to you to reject or go on in. It's on you to grow in holiness and do something that can make the Catholicism in your life better. So if you get if you go to heaven before the pearly gates and you blame him for everything in your life right now, you ain't gonna work. So if he's that much of a trigger in your head, again, you might need to seek help. Again, the traz that are online, I talked to a lot of other traz today, and to a T. Everyone that I mentioned, I go, guys, you watching what these guys were saying online? They were embarrassed and really disappointed on the talking heads online today. And I mean, a lot of people I mentioned, I go, am I missing this? And they go, no, you are. These guys have lost their utter minds. A lot of people just went off the rails today. Was it 3 o'clock? 2 o'clock? 3 o'clock?
It was about 3. Yeah, because it was announced about 1. So
apparently I needed a Pope pass when I was doing the live chat. I lost 2 subscribers. We weren't bashing enough. Going, no, it's just the guy walks up. We just critique his steps. Well, look at how he steps right there. He's obviously a heretic. And yeah, that's what I was thinking. The jokes about the Chicago pizza. Going, that's I'm sticking with New York style. Not that I wanted Dolan. I'm glad Dolan's not there.
You could have gotten Dolan, folks, if they were going to pick an American Pope. You could have gotten Stupid Dolan. You
would have gotten Cheesehead Dolan. You would have liked that. At least let's look at a plus side. He hasn't grown a cheesehead.
No, he hasn't. So there is, there's
I told we were in a big group of all these Catholic leaders, and someone got mad at me for that. What if you would have said Shupich or Wilson would have come out? I go, I already joked saying on the air with Jonathan, I said, if Shupich would have walked out going, I'm out. I'm kidding. And I'm laughing when I'm saying it. But I go, dude, I'm going to sleep well tonight. It's not like it's my guy got in. I don't have a guy. Again, Jesus is in charge. He fits the bill. He hasn't left. He promised the gates of hell will not prevail. Now it's up on whoever's listening to this to actually believe that and to go for it. Now, you want to make up what if land, if ifs and buts for candy and nuts, but all of a Merry Christmas. Stay in reality. Don't get into what if land. Everyone's like, what if this? What if this? What is the reality? Conform your mind to reality. Stay in it. Have some joy. As that sermon goes, Christ is the point anyways. Even if you don't like the guy, which was Paul VI when the video was, the quote was, you can still go to heaven. So, I mean, last I checked, he didn't condemn you to the fires of hell. It's up on you on that one. So, and again, I guess you have to,
that's our thoughts on the Pope. I mean, it is what it is. It's done.
Is that horse dead?
What?
I'm just beating that horse a little bit more.
Just make sure it's firmly in the ground, Steve, before we move on.
Bears.
That Pope. He's that Pope now. So
I have some fun with that. I would love to see that Jordan one. Is someone says anything good come out of Chicago? Well, I mean the Bulls from the '90s. I mean,
I have it. I will find it. This thing was awesome. This thing actually slaps pretty hard. I know.
Everyone loved when Jordan's announcement comes out. I mean, Jordan's the hometown with Wilmington, North Carolina guy, but Chicago. I mean,
it's
never been to Wrigley. Been to Comiskey. Never been to Wrigley. Always didn't like the Cubs because my mom's from Cincinnati, my dad's from St. Louis. We grew up Reds and Cardinals fans, and the Cubs were the rivalry. So I actually went to a Cubs game, and they were the worst fans I've ever been around.
Yeah.
They were F-bombing everybody. And
they were losers for so long.
I mean, I was sitting in front of Zambrano's family, and I'm yelling out the Port Zambrano. So you can call me an immigrant guy. That's a baseball,
From the United States. Let's listen.
It actually worked pretty well.
It does work pretty well.
And now, if he came out like this would have been a lot better. Actually. My first act as Pope will be the institution of Bucky's at the Vatican.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool things that went on today. I mean, you heard people singing the Salve Virginia.
Oh yeah, people were.
Yep.
I mean,
this was on every channel was streaming everything. So you had the world listening.
Oh, the whole world. I mean, all eyes and Protestants, everybody looking at us for 2 weeks because we're the main character, and now, we've been. We're
Now, if you're in the bush in the middle of Africa, maybe you didn't get that. Where all the condoms in Gaza, Mozambique, Africa went. They might not be streaming live there, but
they'll figure it out. They'll get it.
That's another
They'll get
story.
it eventually. They'll get it eventually. It's fine. But all right, let's move on. We talked about it. Now there's nothing to do except now you can actually pray for him after your rosary. Yay! So that's
that was
what
a
it
good
is.
portion of this program.
Yeah. now that we've done our mandatory talking about the Pope, let's talk about some other stuff. Let's talk about the American pontiff, Donald Trump. By the way, he didn't seem very disappointed that he wasn't elected. He was very gracious in defeat, so we have to give him credit for that. I wasn't elected, but that's okay. The ballots haven't come in from the Congo, so we'll see how that goes. It was a rigged papal conclave. Dominion took the votes from me. I don't know. Maybe it's possible. I can't. What is that? Let me put my. You gotta make me put my glasses on.
Yeah, when the meme. Oh, you didn't see it? Yeah.
No, I got it because it's on one of the other ones. That's funny.
Yeah, when the meme war that came out from it, we did the meme better, I thought, with the Orange Julius. Thank you, Lou. Our meme was cooler, I thought.
Pope Orange Julius I was the greatest name ever, and the fact that we didn't get it for it. So
I guess we didn't get upset enough, Rick. We were supposed to be Catholic comedy out there putting Pope Mr. T and all that, and everyone's losing.
I know I'm all over it tonight, but Catholic comedy was the MVP. He might be my saint of the week for the amazing amount of AI Pope memes he got. He was on it for all of those. So that is sad that we will no longer have the AI Pope memes to kind of joke. His one of Arnold Schwarzenegger was perfect. He was like, "Come with me if you want to live. Get to the confessional." Do we think it's going to be invalid? I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
What are we talking about?
This question down here from Amy Jean. Do you think there's a chance it may be invalid? I don't. So I don't think any of that. I don't believe in it. I don't believe any of that. So that's just me. That's my 2 cents. Take it however.
What would be invalid at
his election? I guess you saying
the election.
Yeah.
No, it's valid. It's valid. The Cardinals approve, case closed, period, close the book. That was the whole thing with the beneficantis. It's all about the Cardinals accepting everything. And if they don't accept it, that's one thing. If they do accept it, don't worry about it. It's over. Close the book.
You can still go to heaven.
Yeah, again, that's blogs just making everything all murky and screwing things up for everybody.
Yeah. But let's get to some secular stuff. There he is, the real MVP of the Conclave 2025.
That was a joke. I had a plan. I was going to come up with that, and then God laughed at my plan and didn't want me to do an interview with the seagulls. I thought it was going to be
great.
He
penguin too, by the way. He's calling me up. Why would there be a penguin? I'm like, dude, how's a penguin going to get up to the roof?
Because I lost my ever living mind, man. I got bird for brains.
He's like, we got to. That's not what a penguin sounds like. Yeah, because it's a seagull, man.
Rick was trying to make an Italian penguin. The gibbity gibbity. That penguin. There is a
Spaka. That's
cockity. What are you doing up there? I saw a guy with a canola. I thought they were grilling up there. They Dolan's got some grills grilled down there in the pizzeria. You got Papa Giorgio down there, and it just smells good.
It smells so good. It is a tourist trap. All right. Let's see. So, do you want to do the Alberta Secession, or what do you want to go on to?
Yeah, we can go with "Oh Canada."
That's what you got to worry about more.
Yeah. No. Well, I still believe that, but you know, it takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a massive tax cut. And it's also a beautiful, you know, as a real estate developer, you know, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person.
Trump, you can't develop
90%. I said that's the way it was meant to be. But, you know, I do feel it's much better for Canada. But we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think it's
this dude does not know what to do.
It would really be a wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other.
And I've been married 5 times. So I know what a good marriage is.
Well, he goes on to say that it's, you know, that what's his name, Mark goes, Canada's not for sale. And then Trump goes, never say never.
Never say never. He let Mark do this like long talk about how Canada's a great country and we're never for sale and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, yeah, never say never. And then he just moved on. Like, he's not giving them that. Yeah.
The great province of Alberta.
There is a successful citizen-led referendum petition that is able to gather the requisite number of signatures requesting such a question to be put on a referendum. Our government will respect the democratic process and include that question on the 2026 provincial referendum ballot as well.
Sip of water.
Marco Rubio sip.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, that being separation. We are well aware that there is a large and growing number of Albertans that have lost hope in Alberta having a free and prosperous future as a part of Canada. Many of these Albertans are organizing petitions to trigger a citizen-initiated referendum, as I mentioned earlier. The vast majority of these individuals are not fringe voices to be marginalized or vilified. They are loyal Albertans. They are quite literally our friends and neighbors who've just had enough of having their livelihoods and prosperity attacked by a hostile federal government. They're frustrated, and they have every reason to be. I want to talk directly to those Albertans. I know how frustrated so many of you have become with our country and the feeling of having politicians living thousands of miles away, passing laws and rules that have cost you your loved ones, jobs, careers, dreams, and opportunities.
That sound familiar?
For a brighter future. Now, none of us knows what the future holds should Ottawa, for whatever reason, continue to attack our province, as they have done over the last decade.
Just put your state in place of that and think DC.
Yep.
Ultimately, that will be for Albertans to decide, and I will accept their judgment.
For you and I have spoken before on my show. Now, of course, we have many different viewers, including international viewers tonight. In the United States, there was a secession movement, and it was the secession from the Union that caused Abraham Lincoln to prosecute the Civil War. In fact, he said in a famous letter that he would have prosecuted the war if it meant not freeing a single slave.
Canadians get it.
caused Abraham Lincoln to prosecute the Civil War. In fact, he said in a famous letter that he would have prosecuted the war if it meant not freeing a single slave. The slavery was a side issue to him. I'm not saying he was for slavery in any way, but he was very clear that he went to war to preserve the Union. Canada is very different, and it was Quebec that set the template. Quebec separatism, which has been around for, well, I suppose you could say for centuries, has proceduralized and normalized a way that a region or a province of Canada can leave, not through violence, but actually through a process. And can you tell our viewers, you're the King's Counsel lawyer, can you summarize in plain English how a place like Alberta could actually break away from Canada without firing a shot? Tell us the system.
Well, and just let's contextualize that point first, which is this is rare. Most countries around the world, and I've been researching this to try and find countries that actually have in their constitutional framework a mechanism for a region, province, or a state to lawfully vote to leave and let them go. In most places, that's treason. So what's remarkable, absolutely remarkable, and people can research this on their own to see that what I'm saying is true, is Canada's the only country, for example, in the Commonwealth that has constitutionalized the method for a province to leave. And it's the 1998 reference case of the Supreme Court of Canada that arose because of the referendum that was coming in Quebec. And the Supreme Court of Canada, our Supreme Court of Canada, ruled that if a clear majority of voters within a province vote in favor of independence, of secession, on a clear question, then each other province, federal government, and First Nations are all obligated to come to the table. They can't sit it out. They can't say, sorry, I'm busy today. They can't say, we're not playing. They have to come to the table. They have to enter into good faith negotiations as to the details as to, is Alberta going to keep the national parks and buy them from the federal government, or is the federal government going to keep the national parks, etc. And what
same arguments for us.
Relations will the First Nations have. So this is a highly unusual. We've got three things coming together that have never happened before. One, we have a legal process for a province to legally declare independence and become a sovereign or enter into a new relationship with someone else like the United States. We have 10 years of the Ottawa Liberals putting their knee, as I've said before, on Albertans' neck, and we're done with it. We don't need the rest of Canada.
I mean, I hope that if Alberta does go through with this, please don't petition to be part of the U.S. Just be your own.
The dumbest thing.
Because or be a territory, just stay independent. Don't go from one central government to another just because Trump's there. Stupid move. And by the way, I love my Canadian brothers and sisters. If there was 1,000, if they were all Kennedy Halls, I wouldn't care. But most of the conservatives, quote unquote, you're talking about up there, oh, look at this map of Alberta. It's all conservative. They're like New England Republicans, meaning they're moderates, meaning they're not going to be like super, conservative. Like the ones in the backwoods, obviously they are, but their conservatives are not us. They're more like your neocons and guys like that. So be careful what you wish for with those kinds of guys. Just, yes, I want Alberta to go because I think they're under tyranny. I agree with that 100%. But just go your own way. You have oil. You have tons of natural resources. You will be fine. Oh, what about just make a deal with the United States for oil and stuff, and we'll protect you like we protect everybody else. It'll be good. Don't worry about it.
Go your own way.
Yeah, right? Just go be like Fleetwood Mac, but not the abortion crazy witch. Just the song, not them actually. Yes. But it's more and more people are waking up to this idea of, hey, why do we need to be under a centralized government? The centralized government does not agree with what I do. And if Alberta does successfully do that, hey, maybe the Texas national movement can get some steam again. And we can get out. And maybe South Carolina can do it, even though they would just elect Nancy Mace queen for life. But the fact of the matter is, because she would run the Citadel and so forth. But more this idea of decentralization is picking up steam, and I'm happy about that.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Any secession movement, I'm all for it. Keep going. Do not get in a divorce and get into another bad marriage. That's just lunacy.
Don't be like Donald Trump. Don't get divorced and get remarried real quick.
Break up, break away.
Alberta, just go be single for a while, right? Just enjoy it.
Yes. Just have some time off. And separate, and we're going to stay over here. You have your house, I'll have my house. That'd be utterly insane if they join anything after breaking away. Well, like you said, I mean, that's the modern idea of, all right, guys, the founders broke away from a tyrannical centralized government to create a tyrannical centralized government. It's outlined in the movie Patriot. Why would I get rid of one tyrant 1,000 miles overseas for 1,000 1 mile here? In a sense, that's what you got. You definitely have that. I know everyone don't like to hear it. You have that in D.C., which, hey.
Have it at a lot of state capitals. I mean, Utah just voted to make the mayor of the Salt Lake just voted to make the trans flag a city flag.
Yeah, just so they can fly it.
Yeah, so they can fly it. So don't, just because it's a red state doesn't mean you're safe. Most of us in our red states are getting taken over because we're too busy saying Trump won, we're good, instead of fighting the battles at the local level.
Yeah. And hey, White Wolf, that's not saying that I put the founding fathers on par with John Climacus or John Chrysostom or Thomas Aquinas or anything like that. It's just the blueprint we're living with right now. They're the ones that gave us the Constitution that we got right now, and the anti-federalists, which a lot of the anti-federalists were a lot of guys. Patrick Henry, George Mason, who's the drunken one? I forget his name that Will Kyle did the part of in Church's group. I forgot his name. Charles Carroll of Carrollton. You can even bring him up if you ever read his stuff. He was a solid Catholic dude. Knew Greek and Latin. He taught that when he was like 8. So a lot of those guys that we trash, we are way dumber than. By the way, they might not have been living the greatest, but they could run circles around us right now and probably look at us like y'all a bunch of idiots. I mean, not calling you guys, but they would say that to all of us, going, "What are you doing? You're letting this happen?" Like a tyrannical judge. Tell her we're for the annex in a district, just take over the entire land. That's what John Taylor Carrollton wrote in Tyranny Unmasked. That's exactly what that book is about. That is one tyrant judge, unelected, putting us some edict for the entire land, and we're just letting that happen. And it's a lot of stuff like that. And no, it's John Taylor, not Bishop Carroll. John Taylor, and not White Wolf. I'm not talking about Bishop Carroll. It's like Charles Carroll, which was his nephew, I think it was his nephew. Charles Carroll. He was the richest man in the 13 colonies out of Maryland. Who, if you read up on him, it's the book American Cicero by Brad Burtzer. Great, cool book. It was illegal for him to hold office in Maryland because he was Catholic. It used to be a very tolerant colony state. And then
Maryland. It was the only Catholic colony for a long time. Maryland. That's where it got its name from.
I think they named it after William and Mary, to be honest. It wasn't named after a lady.
I thought it was, because I thought it was the first and only Catholic colony for a while.
No, they gave it to us. They let it be like tolerant to us, and then definitely was. And they were there was rules like if you were caught being Catholic in Maryland. This is during Charles's time. If you got caught being Catholic in Maryland, they would take your kids from you and send them back to England to be raised by good Anglicans. And I'm saying good Anglicans. That was their words.
Yeah, that was their words, not ours.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you tried to read most of your smart politicians today, if you put any,
that's actually false too. And Charles was definitely not a religious indifference guy. He actually called out saying this is the one true faith, and that's why he's Catholic. He was okay with other religions being there, tolerant for their existence, but he didn't promote them. Sorry, Rick, go ahead.
I don't remember. Let me just keep going. Oh yeah, if you put your smartest politician, if you put just a basic document with no translation from even Hamilton, and I'm not a big fan of Hamilton or any of those guys, they wouldn't be able to understand half of it. That's how dumb we've gotten as far as the way that's why the Constitution has been interpreted in such a way, because they don't understand in Article 1, the powers vested. It's actually they call it the supremacy clause or the elastic clause. It's actually not, because the powers of the Congress are actually listed, but they misinterpret it because they're, stupid and evil.
James Claiborne is saying the good and plenty clause.
Yeah, the good and plenty clause. So yeah, there's
don't worry, you and I will have residence in we'll be at the Rock.
Decide to reopen Alcatraz.
Welcome
Can you walk
to
us
the
through
Rock.
that decision?
Did I say what?
To reopen Alcatraz, how will you use it? How did you come up with the idea?
Well, I guess I was.
I watched
supposed to be a
this movie.
maker. We started with the movie making, and we'll end. I mean, it represents something very strong, very powerful in terms of law and order. Our country needs law and order. Alcatraz is, I would say, the ultimate, right? Alcatraz, Sing Sing and Alcatraz, the movies. But it's right now a museum, believe it or not. A lot of people go there. It housed the most violent criminals in the world, and nobody ever escaped. One person almost got there, but they, as you know the story, they found his clothing rather badly ripped up. And it was a lot of shark bites, a lot of problems. Nobody's ever escaped from Alcatraz, and just represented something strong having to do with law and order. We need law and order in this country, and so we're going to look at it. Some of the people up here are going to be working very hard on that, and we had a little conversation. I think it's going to be very interesting. We'll see if we can bring it back in large form, add a lot. But I think it represents something. Right now, it's a big hulk that's sitting there rusting and rotting. You look at it, it's sort of you saw that picture that was put out. It's sort of amazing. But it sort of represents something that's both horrible and beautiful and strong and miserable, weak. It's got a lot of qualities.
He should have been done with that about a minute ago, but then he has to keep going.
He just has to keep. I watched this movie called The Rock with Nicolas Cage, and I said, you know what? Let's reopen it, because that's pretty cool. That's
At
right,
least
Sean
he didn't
Connery
say
did
there's
escape.
only one person that broke out of it, and it was me.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. I did. It was fine. It's all right. Also, that's the last Bond movie, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole tonight. But yes, so that's going to cost buku money and time, and it's going to get sued because it's a national park now, and it's all these other things. It's just
we gotta have more places to imprison us, because he's more bodies to arrest.
Yes, he vaporized Brick. You're right. That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got to have
sad.
more places to put people in jail, because Venezuela is not Venezuela, whatever the place we're sending them now. That's not enough. Guantanamo Bay is not enough. None of them is out. We just need more prisons.
They're running out of rooms.
We're running out of rooms. So
imagine Kamala being president. We need more room. They'd have to shut down stadiums to imprison you there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it would have been even worse.
But you can always have a president in Greenland. It just would be no heater.
No, that would actually be pretty nasty.
I asked you if you would rule out military force to take Greenland, and you said no, you don't rule out anything. Would you rule out military force to take Canada?
Well, I think we're not going to ever get to that point. It could happen. Something could happen with Greenland. I'll be honest. We need
I could blow it up and then take it over.
national and international security.
But not
I
with
think
Canada?
it's highly unlikely. I don't see it with Canada. I just don't see it. I have to be honest with you.
Okay, but you don't rule it out for Greenland.
And by the way, Canada, they spend less money on military than practically any nation in the world. They pay NATO less than any nation. They
don't have to
think
sell me on
we're
Canada.
subsidized. They think we are going to protect them. And really, we are. But the truth is, they don't carry their full share, and it's unfair to the United States and our taxpayers.
But you are not ruling out military force to take Greenland.
I don't rule it out. I don't say I'm going to do it, but I don't rule out anything. No, not there. We need that.
First of
We
all,
need
the
Greenland.
Salvation Army, if we really need to take out Canada, we'll just send the Salvation Army to do it. And secondly, I mean, there's not a place in the world he won't bomb, because he's, we gotta show the power of these United States. But apparently that's Catholic, because unjust wars and bombing people into oblivion. It's completely and totally Catholic in that regard, because that's because it's Trump. And yes, but
you did give me a good Trump one. Well, it's not him, but
not a good Trump. But it is, if she gets this done, which she won't, I'll take back all the nasty things I ever said about her. It won't happen, but I mean, so Anna Paulina Luna wants to, she put in a bill to strip the deep state of its tools, its surveillance tools. She wants to repeal the Patriot Act. So she said for over 2 decades, road actors within the U.S. intelligence agencies have used the Patriot Act to create the most sophisticated, unaccountable surveillance apparatus in the Western world. Good, Paulina Luna. Good. That's actually what your constituents want you to do. They want you to get rid of stuff like that. Once again, won't happen. Even worse, Steve, even if it did happen, the deep state won't listen to it. Even, oh, you guys can't do it. Oh, no, don't. Who's going to stop us? And then they'll just keep go back and doing what they're doing. So, and that is Pam Bondi, Law and Bunny Bondi has decided that we're still looking at the Epstein files, guys. We're still looking. We're going to find it someday. Don't worry.
We officially renamed it the Gulf of America, which I love the meme. The Gulf of no one's been arrested yet.
The Gulf of nothing else has been done. The Gulf of wasting time. Like, did you wasted congressional time renaming a body of water? What a bunch of losers. Seriously. I mean, we all get what we deserve. We really do. Just, I can't say anything else about it.
Yeah. Here's a Scott. I'm a Soros guy, but I'm a good Soros guy because I'm a Trump Soros guy with, homo husband and, whatever, kid. U.S. government will never default. We will just raise our debt ceiling. Hey, remember when conservatives were against that?
Mm-hmm. But now that's our guy. It's our guy now.
Yes. This is an executive order orders provisions that allow GUF gain of function research to continue in the United States under stricter oversight, provided it adheres to new safety and transparency guidelines. Now, because everyone saw this part, historic breaking news: Trump ends gain of function research in the United States. All of history gain of function research, we can't point a single good thing to come of it. In reality, it just went over a different oversight.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Marco Rubio is pretty much oversighting everything at this point.
Wow, you said Marco Rubio? Okay.
I did. Little Marco.
Let's get to Daniel McAdams. Thank you, Rick. That's why you're here. Trump fired the guy who was maneuvering him in a war with Iran to benefit Israel, and instead replaced him with the guy who was maneuvering him in the war with Iran to benefit Israel. So Rubio's taken over. What was his face? He just got fired this week. I forget his name. His job, and so Rubio is now being the Kissinger, taking over post positions. And they were saying, well, he was too. Mark was it? Mike. He was too war hawkish. Rubio isn't like exactly a peace guy.
No, he's never been another Catholic, by the way. Never been like following things. I didn't either see Marco Rubio essentially overseeing the whole government as on the bingo card. Somebody on Twitter actually had a great post. Marco Rubio is very happy that Pope Leo was assigned because now he has to stop running the Vatican too. So he was very happy that the conclave was over because he got that off his plate.
that was a great meme of see how the tariffs are working. Even the Pope is now American.
That's funny. Come on, that's funny one right there. That's great. Oh man, you gotta have some fun with this stuff, guys, before you go straight to doom.
Well, speaking of fun, did you see about the new gender reveals that Israel's got going on?
No. What's going on?
Now you blow up buildings in Gaza and you just kind of sick, twisted people are these?
Those are our greatest ally. That's what they are. They are our greatest ally, Steve. And never forget it. Never.
Speaking of that, we didn't get to this last week, but this was 12:23 Maltese time. The Freedom Flotilla ship was subject to a drone attack. The front of the vessel was targeted twice, resulting in a fire and breach of the hull. The ship was located in international waters near Malta and was going towards Gaza. They sent to give them food because they're starving the people. And Israel has come out saying proudly that they're happy to drone bomb this the Freedom Flotilla. And this is a great interview. Joe Minders, well, not interview, it's just him talking about it. He was part of Freedom Flotilla 6 years ago. He was arrested and POW'd. And again, 6 years ago, what admin was that? If you said the current one, you would be right. What did they do for him? They did absolutely nothing, because it's most favored nation that did it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and don't you say anything negative about most favored nation, because they will get you dragged out and deported or in jail, one of the two. You know.
Well, this was getting a house the other day. It got taken down when Massey and MTG was against it. Brought a lot of people's put a lot of perspective and shine a light on it. The House votes Monday on HR 867. It was this past Monday. The IGO Anti-Boycott Act, sponsored by Representative Mike Lawyer, fines up to $1 billion. Prison sentences 20 years for Americans participating in boycotts of Israel or its settlements, if these boycotts were endorsed by international bodies like the UN or EU. Remember, this is Make Israel Great Again. There's nothing about your good stuff, anything that cares about you in that.
Nope,
and so here's one of your House of Representatives. Forgot about this one. This is beautiful. Hey, Muslim terrorists, cry harder. Starve away. We talked about Randy a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago.
Yep.
Dan McGahn, this is an elected member of U.S. Representatives, mocking starving women and children and telling them to starve away. He actually thinks it's funny when U.S.-backed Israeli policy is killing babies. What kind of monster is this? That's your federal government, literally across the board.
Yep. And they celebrate it openly, so it is what it is in that regard. So, it's. Yeah, you're right, White Wolf. Texas already has laws concerning Israeli stuff. Governor Hot Wheels is more than happy to bend the knee. Well, genuflect, bend over for Israel.
Here's want me to play that little thing down there?
Yeah, speaking of Texas.
Yeah, and by the way, that bill that was said about that MTG and Massey was against, that was if you boycott Israeli businesses, you're in trouble. What? You could not boycott an Israeli business. Again, we're in Twilight Zone.
Mr. Speaker.
Ms. Luther, for what purpose?
Does the gentleman yield for questions?
Will the gentleman yield for questions?
Certainly yield for questions. Yes,
gentleman yields.
Thank you. And so this bill is a Class A misdemeanor?
That is correct.
So what are the consequences for this? Could you explain that to me?
Well, you would have to, of course, it would go to the district attorney's office, and a Class A misdemeanor is, let me see if I have the actual penalties in front of me.
Excuse me?
Yeah, it's up to a year in jail. Yes, ma'am.
So, up to a year in jail?
Correct.
I've been to jail for 3 days for working. Do you think that that's a fair punishment for someone creating an image or a meme?
Well, it's a very serious offense.
Up to a year in jail, sir.
Well, we could do a civil fine, correct? And as of right now, well, going in this session, Ryan, there's 750 cases totaling $3.6 million in uncollected fines. So fining someone $500 in a campaign that could be $5 million, $10 million, correct? A $500 fine is a cost of doing business in an election. But if someone were to commit an offense of this nature, it would certainly get their attention and hopefully prevent them from doing it.
You think a year in jail for making a cartoon, that matches the offense?
It will be probation. You and I both know that. This
no, I don't. It literally says in your, because I personally have dealt with judges who take a personal vendetta against you and make you an example. I have actually lived that my whole life. For working, I got thrown in jail. So I'm asking you, if someone creates a cartoon, they could go to jail for a year. That's what you're saying in your bill.
Now, what I'm saying is, and by the way, your circumstances and your confinement has nothing to do with this piece of legislation.
No, I'm talking about if the punishment matches the offense. I can talk about that all day long, sir.
Well, and that's your prerogative. This is a deterrent in using fake or altered media to drastically change the outcome of an election. And I think that's a serious offense, and it should be taken serious. I'm not taking this lightly at all.
That's a joke.
So you don't think there's been political satire it's been a tradition in America for a long time.
Absolutely.
And if someone's
it will continue. It will continue.
Right. So now that you have this bill, you're expecting that to completely stop.
No.
And then if you're in an area like Dallas, they'll say, we're going to put you in jail for, we have J6ers that are in jail for doing nothing.
She's 100% right. She's 100% right. Judges will use it to make an example out of you. Now, Brian, a fellow Texan, a smarter Texan than I, says the Texas Senate is probably going to kill this because the Senate actually has some sense about it. But still, the fact that the Texas House is just a bunch of libtard morons, the fact that it even got passed is still pretty sad. It is still pretty sad. And it's just a show of how poorly the state is run. And that's why we don't call it the Moscow on the Colorado River for nothing. That's Austin. Austin is just such a piece of poo. It's a piece of poo, man. No good.
As you mentioned, Hot Wheels is a big Israeli guy and
huge.
Greenbolt Splat, CEO of the ADL, who was talking about censorship from all these Facebook, YouTube, Google, all that for exactly this stuff. And I would not put it past that the ADL is right behind that kind of bill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they'll do it again. They'll put it up as many times until it goes through. So that's the thing that's worrisome, is that the money that this state is what's pouring in to push us in certain directions. And it's such a huge, massive area. It's Dallas, it's Austin, it's Houston, it's San Antonio. Those are the places. And even, these guys are elected as supposed conservatives, or not even Republicans. They're old Bush neocon Republicans. And that's why you get this stuff that you're getting.
Mm-hmm. Even this, Texas passed a bill banning Texans under 18 from having social media accounts. Now, I would say, hey, most people are going, hey, that's great. Your kids shouldn't be underneath it. I don't know if your government, again, states, they'd rather have the state doing it than the federal. Where's your parents? The parents, that's on you. You don't need daddy to tell your kid that he can't have a Twitter account. You should be a parent enough to say, you're not getting a cell phone until you're 21, or you leave the house, or you're not having a Facebook account. You're not having a Twitter account. You're not on Instagram, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. You have to have daddy government to tell you that.
Yeah, unfortunately they do. Unfortunately, many people have decided that that's the mode that needs to be done, because parenting is not a thing anymore. It's whatever daddy government, as you said perfectly, is going to tell you, or they will be the example of what is good and true. Government should never, ever be an example of anything that is good, or is, government is a reflection of the society. And if the society has said we can't monitor our own children, that's a terrible sign. That is a terrible sign going forward. Terrible sign going forward.
Terrible.
So,
in other state-related news, since we're in our Federalist program right here, where did I put it?
Federalist portion. Play.
Senate Bill 5375 requires members of the clergy to report child abuse and neglect, even if the information is divulged in confession or sacred confidence. Washington is one of just 5 states that does not designate clergy as mandatory reporters. Under current law, a variety of other professions that frequently interact with children, including police officers, nurses, and school personnel, are required to report incidents of suspected abuse. This bill protects Washingtonians from abuse and harm. And I'll just say on a personal note, I'm a Catholic, and as some of you know, and And my uncle was a Jesuit priest for
Boo.
many years here in the Northwest. And so, from my perspective, I obviously have a personal perspective on
And your uncle should come out and whip your butt.
this. But, protecting our kids, first, right? Protecting our kids
Yet
first
they're not.
is the most important.
Epstein list, anybody? Somebody, wait, what's that Epstein list?
Here's the thing. They don't, the SBC has had a huge child abuse issue. We don't have to talk about Islam. Judaism also has its issues as well. Only one of the three branches of the Abrahamic faith is being attacked. Why? Because it's the only one that stands in the breach against the Democratic Party. It's the only one that is the true representative of our Lord and Savior. And of course, they are always attacking the church, and they always use the guise of what, Steve? Safety. The safety of this, just like with the cough jab. It's your safety to do this. That's why we got to shut down this, and we got to do it. It's always safetyism. The culture of safetyism is what's used to erode your rights away constantly. And he's like, oh, my uncle was a Jesuit. It's like, yeah, we get it. I go, yeah, we get why you're doing this now. So
get on the bishops there saying that we will go to jail over this. Yep. But personally, I think more teeth needs to get involved. I mean, obviously this is a violation of Washington State Constitution. It took me 30 seconds to pull this up and find it. Article 1, Declaration of Rights, religious freedom, done. Violation of Washington religious freedom. Close the book, end of story. They should get the St. Thomas law group and all together, come up there with guns blazing and say that's a violation, just anti-constitutional Washington State, null and void, nullify that thing right now, and don't let those roots grow 1 centimeter. It reminded me of the Charles Carrollton thing. There was a bill that comes through. I think it was a taxation bill when he was First Nation, when he was writing about it. They didn't like the bill. It was unconstitutional in Maryland State House. They take the bill. They put it in a coffin. They hang said coffin up on a tree in the front yard of the governor. They proceed to shoot it up for the night and then leave the coffin for the governor to see in the morning, which we saw. He got the message, and the bill didn't go through. Not telling everybody to have a gun party with a coffin, which kind of would be fun, maybe. I think Rick could probably put one together and have it. This produced from the pews for entertainment purposes only. Something's got to be done like that. This can't just be, that's great that we're going to keep, going forward and all this, but gotta punch them in the teeth a little bit back, or they're just going to keep making it worse. You got to draw that line, yes, but punch back in a sense. You let them. You have the rule right there. There, Article 1, Section 11, done. Nullify that thing now.
Yep. I mean, you need to. Somebody in the chat know who was the bare knuckle bishop of Philadelphia a long time ago, where he said, "Oh yeah, if you're going to do this, we're going to burn the entire city."
You're thinking Dagger John in New York.
So yeah, Dagger John. You need Dagger John to be like, yeah, if you do this, we'll just burn the entire place down. That's when
that's pretty much the mindset you want right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you have to do. Because they're coming after you. And I'm glad the bishop's like, yeah, we're not going to follow this. So at least I will take that, because most of the time they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. Now they're like, no, we're not going to do it. But yeah, like you said, the St. Thomas group, they all got to come in here and they got to slap so many lawsuits on these people that they got to push them back and make it them think twice about stuff like this ever again. But it's unfortunate.
Look at tyranny. You want tyranny unmasked? There you go, right there. Somebody, this is for the children. That guy doesn't give 2 squats about the kids. If he did, maybe he'd be out there saying, hey, where's that Epstein list? Hey, Bondi, the states are going to start suing you about this. Or
why didn't they? Somebody brought it up. If he's so concerned about kids, why aren't you looking in the schools? Why aren't you looking in public schools? Public schools are an absolute landmine. That is where the real war on children happens. That's where that stuff is happening, not in Catholic churches.
And it's getting worse.
It absolutely is. So, and that's another reason why this thing needs to get slapped back hard, because if it goes through in Washington, if it goes unchallenged in Washington, it's going to sweep everywhere else. I know the DOJ is supposedly looking into this or whatever, but once again, I don't want the federal government to save me. You gotta save yourselves at the state level. You can't wait government, because the government's not going to be there for you in 4 years. Might not be there for you in 2 years. Who knows? So
here's another state movement.
You say to those on the left who claim that Obergefell, that ruling settled this issue of the redefinition of marriage?
Yeah, people like to say that Obergefell is a settled law, but the truth is it's not. Obergefell isn't settled law. It's besetting immorality that's imposed by judicial decree. And court opinions can be referred to as settled law only if they are rooted firmly in the Constitution and the heritage and the tradition of the American people. And the fact is, Obergefell is fundamentally antithetical to all of these. And there is just no right to gay marriage in the Constitution. And some states are now passing resolutions, like you mentioned, in support of Clarence Thomas's ambition to overturn Obergefell. And Tony, ultimately, marriage is not the state's institution. It's God's institution. And really no Supreme Court ruling that redefines a God-ordained institution is ever truly settled, not morally or culturally, and even constitutionally. The rogue court will stand in judgment before God for their decision. And the fact is, here in Oklahoma, our statutes still define marriage as between a man and a woman, and that's not a relic, that's reality. And I believe that it will one day be enforced again. If anything needs to be settled.
35 states have a Defensive Marriage Act on their books.
He just said nullify Obergefell.
Yep.
The problem with him, he's a prodigy. Wish we had some Catholics saying this stuff. The problem with his idea is he's begging SCOTUS to please, SCOTUS, please change it. All you have to do, nullify. Yep, we will. Done. Bye. Goodbye. Sorry.
And don't say it can't be done. The left has been doing it with stuff like marijuana and all that stuff for years. Immigration, they do it right now. They do it right now with federal immigration. So
we
don't
like
say
to talk about it. We ain't got the spine to do anything about it.
No, we're too afraid. We scared.
On the good thing, somebody doing something about it. Here's Ron DeSantis, I'm sorry. Free state, clear sky, sending a strong message. Florida would not be the testing ground for geoengineering. We do not permit this type of activity. We are going to be the next step. We are going to the next step to ensure it does not happen in this state. As soon as it reaches my desk, I will be signing the recent passed Senate Bill 56 to prohibit the release of chemicals into our skies to alter the weather or atmosphere. The free state of Florida means freedom from governments or private actors unilaterally applying chemicals or geoengineering to people or public spaces. I guess the crazy conspiracy theorists are right again. Why would he be doing that if it doesn't exist?
And there's Steve putting his house up for sale because he's going to Florida. He's every one of these things that his house closer and closer to get. He's like, when is my rent up?
Prices are going down. Prices are going down. Trust me, I'm keeping an eyeball on it. Yep, it makes the banana trees a little bit easier to grow out back.
I bet in that regard that's true. But hey, everybody's a conspiracy theorist until it's true.
Because in my state of North Kakalaki, there's a North Carolina Farm Act 2025 aims to ban the sale of raw milk and give bearer immunity from any glyphosate litigation. So you're banning raw milk, but you're okay in the chemicals that kill you.
Make it make sense, Steve. Make it make sense, buddy. It doesn't. I'll tell you that much. It's just the thinking of the majority. All milk bad. Everything else fine. It's okay. You die slow. Well, we all die slow. But,
just some final world news is Russia thwarts the largest drone attack in history, sparking airport chaos hours before a Victory Day ceasefire. 500,000 robot taxis to hit China Street by 2030. That date's familiar.
Yeah, right.
Some kind of technocracy or something like that.
Yeah, something linked up to Teslas or whatever you want to say, or Elon Musk, blah 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 blah, so forth and so forth. But yes. All right, I think we've expunged all of our news from the pew today. Steve, who are your saint of the week and your cry room?
Saint of the week. Last week, Spain went dark, and it was kind of funny. They said something about Israel, and then their electricity went out. I don't know how. What a coinky dink. But a cool thing that happened from it was The mass blackout in Spain shows the power of local communities. They were checking on neighbors and the elderly. What a concept. Sharing food and cooking outdoors. Nice. Helping strangers get home. Making the most of the moment. Children played in the streets while adults chatted on balconies or doorways. Wow, nobody looked down at their phone. No internet on phone. They had no choice but to unplug. Many families brought board games, played cards, or sat and talked. What a shocking, bizarre chain of events. A heartwarming scene in Braza-Toros. One of the moving stories came from Braza-Tortas, where a high-speed train was stuck in the tracks. Locals broke through the fence to bring hot food, water, and comfort to stranded passengers. It's just video of them just, getting together, throwing them food, and things like that. Dancing, singing, screen-free moments. I mean, they were dancing in the streets, talking. Look at that.
Just living in the moment. Just living in their moment, buddy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, that was one of the things, even as you watch the papal thing, you saw a lot of people holding their devices up. Again, just live. Something happens like that, just live in a moment. You're never going to look back through that and say, hey, how was it? Well, maybe for this one might be different. It only happens maybe, 3 times in my lifetime? Twice in my lifetime so far. 3 times, sorry. Benedict and then Francis, and it is. So many people, it was just their first. But again, if you go, just don't live through the screen. My cry room, online trads. That's an easy one.
Boo. All right. So my cry room, I'm going to put bad Trump for his tariffs on Hollywood. Let Hollywood die. Let's put 100% tariffs on films made outside the U.S. I don't know why Trump always is trying to get people that hate him to like him. They hate you. Let him die. It's that simple. You're not going to save the film industry anyway. It's dying. It's going away. Your tariffs aren't going to do nothing to help it. And I already said it earlier. My saint of the week is going to be Catholic Comedy for his AI memes of the Pope, for coming on and making my show Rickcast that much better. So that's my saint of the week as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it from this episode of News from the Pew. Please like, subscribe, and share. We have almost 550 people watching us tonight. Big deal. Thank you all for watching me. Steve's just there, but anyway, thanks for hanging out.
The event, like
it's a tie. That's why they're here, because they wanted to see your tie. It was
check out Catholic Men's Store shop for your.
Every girl's crazy about a shark dress, man. So it is what it is in that regard. That's it for this episode of News from the Pew. Please don't fight gorillas. God bless, and Viva Cristo Rey.